Hey everyone, it's Matt, aka Joke2 Driver with Scale4x4.us. I'm here today to give you a little bit of a review on the Axial ax10 Ridgecrest. I've managed to finally get some time to get out there and run it. Went out to my local mountain bike trail. It's got some good rocky areas and took it out there. So I took it out there, got a battery pack or so out of it, and what you're going to see here shortly is video of that. Me just basically running the truck as it's somewhat intended. Just basically go out there and hit the rocks and see how it goes. So check out this video here, and I will see you here in a few. Cheers. everyone. So you should have just finished watching a couple minutes of the ax10 running out there on some rocks and some trail stuff on the mountain bike trails here locally. So I wanted to just kind of give you my initial impressions of how the truck is, how it runs, how it feels when you're out there driving it. For the most part, I mean, it's a fairly robust truck. I mean, as you saw, it tumbles and it flips and it does everything that you would expect somewhat of an RTR to do that's going to be built to kind of take a beating. If you saw one of my earlier videos with my 2-year-old son giving it a drive, obviously you saw that it can take a fairly decent amount of abuse. So I actually think he was probably far worse on it than obviously I was just there on the rocks. I basically did what it's designed to do. I took it, climbed what I could, what I didn't do, it tumbled and it rolled and so on and so forth. Whereas he just was full throttle, running into things, hey, whatever happens. So my initial impressions of how it drove, the throttle for me was a little on the touchy side. I don't know if it was, I think my battery pack was getting a little on the low side. I haven't had a chance to get it back out there with a fully fresh, true fresh battery pack to see if that was somewhat of it. But I noticed that when I would give it absolute full throttle, it would hang up. But if I gave it 95% full throttle, it did just fine. So I don't know if that was just a hang up with the battery itself or if that was maybe the speed control. Everything is factory set up. I have not actually changed anything. That being said, if I was to change something, the truck is designed for you to be able to move the battery packs and electronics around. So what I intend to do at some point is actually take the battery pack from the rear of the truck and move it up here in the front, because I did notice that it did want to do a lot of nosing backwards. Obviously, not enough weight on the front, and you probably noticed that in some of the videos. So you try to hit one of those bumps, get the front wheels up over, and then when you try to gas it again, it just wants to tumble itself backwards. So that's going to be one of the first things I'm going to do, is I'm going to try to swap that stuff around. One thing I did notice, and I want to show this to you because I didn't point it out before, and honestly I didn't see it. On the remote, there's actually you have your steering trim and your throttle trim, but you actually have an additional button here, or knob, that is for it basically adjusts the amount of throw your steering will have. And honestly, I really like this feature because I'm sure it's available on other ones. I haven't paid enough attention. But it allows you to change the angle, or how much angle you can dial into your steering. You'll notice that in my video, the steering was pretty well, not maxed out, but it was probably 75%. I would probably dial that back the next time I go out there, because it was touchy as I was bouncing off things. But that's one of the features that I really liked on the controller. The truck itself, for what it is, for RTR, for essentially what it is, it's a rock racer. For lack of a better terms, it's not your finesse crawler, as I would call it. If I was to go out there with this and want to do true crawling, trying to see what stuff I can get over, how much of this, how much of that, I'd set this thing up for some more droop. It's all spring loaded, so it's not got a lot of, as you can see, it's not got a lot of droop to it. However, that's what I would choose to do. Probably dial in maybe a different tire compound. I mean, these are not bad. I don't know if there's foams in there. I can't tell. I mean, they're glued onto the rims. I do know that it's got some pneumatic compression. But I would probably dial up some newer tires, something with a little more grip, and either go with foams or not. But overall, the truck itself, straight out of the box, performed as you would expect, perfectly, beautifully. I mean, I really don't have any complaints. Have no damage to the truck itself. The only damage I have is from what my 2-year-old did, and that's essentially just these little pieces of roll bar that are here on the front of the truck. The screws are really, really small, so they don't thread in very far, and so you hit stuff and they pop off. They will pop off. So I could see if you're picking it up by this periodically, that eventually you're gonna find it popping out on you. But other than that, I mean, it's all solid. My concerns with the front steering have not shown themselves yet. I mean, obviously time will tell with that, but so far so good. So knock on wood that doesn't change. But that's essentially my impressions of it on a essentially a first run. I haven't had a lot of time with it. I just haven't had a lot of free time. So that's essentially what I've been able to derive from my time with the ax10. I'm going to try to get a few more runs. I do plan to actually customize this in some way. I haven't quite decided what I want to do. Obviously, our focus is more on the scale aspect with scale 4x4. So I've got some ideas of what I want to attempt to do with it, but I haven't quite fleshed those out. So stay tuned. You know, don't hold your breath for it, because otherwise you're going to pass out and die. But eventually I will get around to doing something with this that as soon as I find a cool idea to do with it, some sort of, I don't know what, honestly I'm not sure, some sort of cool rig is my plan. But there you have it, the Axial ax10 Ridgecrest, ready to run rock racer, for lack of a better term, rather than I would say rock crawler. But I'd probably give it, if I had to give it if I had to score it, scale score is not going to be very high, because it's not a very scale rig, in my opinion. The body's nice, but I'm not even going to bother with a scale score. But from a out-of-the-box performance standpoint, I'd probably give it a good 7.5, 8. I mean, I really don't have any complaints with it at the moment. As for durability, right now I got to give it pretty much a 9.5 to 10, because I've let my 2-year-old drive it into the wall and everything else, and other than minor body stuff, it's got no issues. So that gets high on me right now after initial run. So I mean, there you have it. I can certainly recommend it. I would say if you're looking for a out-of-the-box rock crawler to kind of get you into it, go for it. I've got no complaints with that. If you're looking for something that's scale, go with the SCX10. You get more bang for your buck, in my opinion. I mean, you've got something that's a little more scale tailored, and plus there's so much you can do with that. Not to say there's anything you can't do with this, but that's certainly tailored more so for your scale stuff. But yeah, I get it. If you need a ready-to-run rock racer, semi-rock crawler, or if you just need something to just go out there and let your 2-year-old beat up, go get one. I got no complaints with it. I'm perfectly happy with it at this point. So if that changes, I'll let you know. Otherwise, stay tuned. Appreciate it. Cheers. I'm going to finish this now. Go away. Bye.